Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Faith Howard Mooney. I'm the VP of Member Engagement here at the Mortgage Collaborative. And with me today is Andrew Panagos, who is the president of Go Mortgage. As I love your background, as you can easily see in your background that you have, that's a stellar background. It sticks out really well. So appreciate you doing this with me today.
Thank you, Faith. It's wonderful to be with you. The background I can take no credit for. That's our spectacular marketing team. I will give them all the credit, but it's great to be with you.
Yeah, it looks like a real room. You wouldn't even know.
It's pretty good, right? We
It,
almost, God, I wish I had that conference room here, but I do not. It's a terrific background. They did a great job.
it is. Well, thanks for doing this. We agreed at the beginning of this call before we started recording that we were going to have a little bit of fun today. So I've got like 5 quick and easy questions to ask you. There's no doubt after our initial conversation that we're going to have fun today. So let's get rolling on that one. So share with me
Mhm.
what your first job ever was.
Ever. My first job ever.
Yeah.
My first job ever was stocking shelves in not the overnight, but in the middle of the night at
Okay.
a pharmacy in
Oh,
little old Providence, Rhode Island,
okay.
as I was in high school looking for spending money
Mhm.
and playing a lot of tennis. So I would go in late at night around 7 to 10 p.m. and stock a bunch of shelves and get a little bit of spending money and then get a ride home from one of my friends. And that was my very first job. And I realized very quickly I wasn't going to be in the retail sector very long.
I always say to people, because I've done a number of these at this point, it's like sometimes the point of the first job, I think, is teaching you what you don't want to do
So
versus
true.
teaching you what you do want to
So
do.
true. And then
Yeah.
remember, no AirPods, no headphones, no podcasts, no audiobooks. That is a boring, tough job in the middle of the night. So I learned real quick, get a day job, kid. Get a
This
day
isn't
job.
this isn't me. So share with me then how you ended up in the mortgage space.
Everybody giggles at this story. So I finished college and I get out of college and I'm supposed to, I had my heart set on law school until I graduated and said, nope, I don't really want to go to law school. And so at the time I was teaching tennis on the side, which was wonderful and sort of a summertime bum job, right? That lasted all year round. And I was perfectly happy. And I think at that point in my early 20s, my mother said, this is an embarrassment. My son has gone to college and is now a tennis coach, which is not okay. And got me a job, forced me into a job at a local bank that was one of her clients. She was a seamstress, and her client was the CEO of a regional bank in New England, and begged him to give me a job. So I got a call from the bank, and they said, "Hey, you start Monday. Come down to the main center." And I was going to be a banker. And after a spirited conversation with my mother about not embarrassing the family, I went to the bank. And this is in the early 90s when the refi boom in the mortgage business was just kicking in for the
Yeah.
second time. And instead of moving me to the bank, they moved me to their mortgage department down the street. And I got dumped into a chair, got called a processor, didn't know what LTV was, didn't know what Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac were. And they stuck a handbook in front of me and said, congratulations, kid, here's a pipeline, go to work.
Yeah.
And I fell in love and I never left. I've been in the
Yeah.
space ever since.
Yeah, it's craziness how some of that happens. Number one, training methods were a lot different back then
There were
than
none.
there were
There were
none.
none.
It's like learn as you go.
That's right.
But it is kind of interesting. Those moms, they, it comes up quite often in these conversations that I do that my mom had a connection or my mom made me.
Had a
So kudos
had a
to your
very
mom. She knew what you should be doing.
had a very tough Greek um, immigrant mother who believed in work and did not believe in tennis. So here we are, still in the
Well,
business.
great background to have for the
That's right.
industry that we are
Good for
in,
her.
that is for sure.
Good for her.
One thing you wish you knew when you kind of got thrown into that spot that you wish you knew about mortgage that now, after you've been in for a while, it seems a lot clearer to you and you tell other people maybe.
Yeah, this is a good one. Ignorance is bliss when you're in your 20s and you're working as hard as we worked during that first refi boom, especially. But the one thing I would say to anybody who gets into the business now, um, learn everything about the business, the full spectrum of the business. As a younger person, you always get wrapped up into what you're doing, right? It's your world is the whole world in the business, and the business has such a broad scope when it comes to capital markets and delivery and secondary investors, and I can go on and on and on. Get educated in the entire business. Have an
Yeah.
interest in everything that the business does and what it touches, because it's such an important part of our economy.
Yeah.
And if that'd be the one thing I wish I could do over again, is sort of get into that earlier in my career versus later.
Yeah, that whole broader thought process about what the
Yep.
industry is and that type of thing, I think is something that many of us have been in for a long time kind of missed out on. And
Yep.
now more than ever, it's what gives you longevity
But there's
in
no
our
question.
business
We
for sure.
we really try and expose especially our younger employees here, either breaking in or 4 or 5 years in the business. We really do try to not cross train them as much as just give them exposure.
Yeah.
What does capital markets actually do? What does it mean? What is the hedge? What is this? What is that? I think that's important. If they want to know, we're happy to give them the information. It's important.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic and great, a great viewpoint for anybody coming in to have. If you weren't in mortgage, what will we find you doing?
Oh boy. That's a great question. What would I be doing? I probably would have ended up either on the banking side or stayed in tennis and been a tennis bum my entire life just for the love of the sport. But I probably would have ended up in banking. I've had some real fortunate experiences with mentors who really took me under their wing at the different stops that I made through my career. And there was a time when sort of asset risk management was a real fun point for me, and I actually enjoyed it. All the quants out there are clapping, and then all the salespeople are giggling. I really did enjoy that side of the business. So I think if I wasn't and had not stayed in the mortgage business, I would have ended up a banker.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I started in the
Yeah.
business. It's a very comfortable place for some of the us who have analytical types of minds and like procedures for sure. Um Last question, just kind of like
Okay.
a random question.
Go.
So, I any superpower that you can have, tell me which one you're gonna choose. So, if you could
Oh,
gain a superpower, which one is it for you?
easy. I'd fly. I think, as a kid growing up in the books that I read and the stuff I was interested in, and it would be flying. I mean, what's better than that? What's better than being
Yeah.
Superman, right?
Yeah,
Than flying
exactly.
around. But I have friends that would disagree and have all kinds of answers to that. But for me, it'd be flight for sure.
Perfect, perfect. Well, it was pleasant getting to know you. We didn't really know each other well before now. Been in the industry for a very similar amount of time. Been within TMC for a while now too. So appreciate your willingness to take the time to do this with me. And if you need anything from us at all, of course, you know that you can always ask. We're here for you.
Always, Faith. I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Take care.